Secretary Hegseth, if the president asks you to seize ballots or voting machines in states during the 2026 election, will you stand up for the Constitution and say no, or will you salute and do his bidding?
A single chilling question just brought the Senate to a dead halt, exposing a looming constitutional nightmare for the 2026 elections. Senator Elissa Slotkin cornered Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth with the ultimate terrifying loyalty test. Donald Trump has openly confessed he regrets not signing his drafted 2020 executive order that would have commanded the U.S. military to seize voting machines. Now, with Hegseth at the helm of the Pentagon, Slotkin demanded an on-the-record guarantee if ordered to deploy armed troops against American polls, crossing a sacred red line untouched through World War II and the aftermath of 9/11. Will Hegseth stand as a firewall for the Constitution, or will he salute and execute the president's bidding? The sheer tension in his response is something you absolutely have to see to believe, so stay locked in until the very end of this video to witness the exact moment he is forced to answer. And if you value this kind of hard-hitting political coverage, hit that join button below.
Gentlemen, you're here to ask for $1.5 trillion, 40% more than what we gave you last year, $1 trillion. And I agree with the chairman of this committee that the world has never been more dangerous and complicated. And regardless of whether we disagree on the reasons for getting into this war, I think we can all agree that we want our military to come out of it safely and successfully and as soon as feasible. The military has taken, the administration has taken military action in 10 different places in the world in 15 months, more than any president in U.S. history. I think President Trump has really become a foreign policy president. And many of those operations, were on the news for a couple of days, but then the American public didn't feel them. And I think the difference with this war with Iran is that the American public is feeling it in their pocketbooks. Gas in Michigan is $4.99 today. The cost of fertilizer, of airline tickets, things that are real to people. Secretary Hegseth, the president said that you were most keen on this war. He said that you were the most gung-ho about it. I think despite us all wanting to come out of this successfully, it is hard to miss that we are at the stalemate, that we don't control the Strait of Hormuz because shipping is not getting through. And we can block what they're trying to get through, but nothing is moving and it's costing the American public. And I think that's a fundamentally different moment than the rest of the military action we've taken. Even in Middle East 101 class, we used to talk about and run war games on the Strait of Hormuz. It's a strategic geography that the Iranians have. And I think it's just concerning to me that we can try and tell the American people that it's going great and we're killing it, but until the Strait of Hormuz is open, I don't think we can credibly say that with any seriousness. I think the question I have for you, though, is future looking, and it's our 2026 elections. The president has been very clear. He said in the State of the Union that essentially if his side doesn't win, then the election was rigged. He said that before the 2020 election. He's asked for voter rolls for 29 different states. He just asked for Detroit's votes or ballots. And we know that in 2020, he wrote an executive order that he didn't sign that said to the U.S. military, to the Secretary of Defense, you should go and seize ballots and voting machines. A few months ago, he said that he regretted that he didn't sign that executive order. So the U.S. military has never been deployed. You incorrectly said yesterday that they were deployed during different elections. Governors deployed them under their authorities, but the federal government has never put the uniformed military at our polls during World War II, right after 9/11. We've never had to do that. So Secretary Hegseth, if the president, who regrets not signing that executive order to the then SecDef in 2020, asks you to seize ballots or voting machines in states during the 2026 election, will you stand up for the Constitution and say no, or will you salute and do his bidding?
Senator, I didn't get a chance to answer the front part of your question, which, there was a lot of deferred maintenance under the Biden administration that needed to be addressed because the world was in chaos when President Trump was elected. Just address the election issue, please. Well, again, that's
the most important thing. It's what's happening.
It's yet another gotcha hypothetical, which is your specialty.
It's not. We had an executive order
under the Biden administration in 2024.
It's not a hypothetical. I refuse to accept. You give that answer all the time. You and I have done this dance before. Get over it, okay? In 2020, he's the president, your boss, the guy you're performing for right now, told the journalists this year that he wished he signed that executive order to your predecessor. And your predecessor said publicly, thank God, we didn't actually go forward with it. What are you going to do? You're the guy here in the seat. It's not hypothetical. Tell the American people, will you deploy the uniform military to our polls to collect voter rolls or machines?
Are you accusing me of performing? Because you're performing for cable news right now.
But Mr. Secretary, we have
it's a hypothetical. By the way, in 2024, under the Biden administration, 15 states did deploy
under their governor's authority when their governors asked for it.
What did Joe Biden say about that?
That's fundamentally, I don't think anything, because he needed them for cybersecurity and for COVID. Trump did it too, under Trump. But it was not the federal decision. It was those governors of the states under their authorities, okay? It's never been done in our history. Please stand up for the Constitution. Do not send uniformed military to our polls.
Do you have a response to that portion of the question, Mr. Secretary?
I've never been ordered to do anything illegal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Secretary Hegseth, safe to say that our weapons like SM-3s, Tomahawks, Patriot missiles have capabilities that are unmatched. That's why they cost a lot, take a long time to produce. Your budget requests $31.8 billion to expand production capacity for critical missile stockpiles. Is that correct? 31.8?
I'm looking at $53 billion for munitions acceleration over 14 critical munitions, of which the ones you listed are a part.
Okay,
so I believe more than that. Yes, sir.
More than 20 billion more. So we've been working together to grow the industrial base because we're all worried about how our stockpiles would hold up in a conflict against China. Since the start of this war, you've made it a point to highlight the number of strikes the U.S. military is carrying out, citing that more than 13,000 targets had been struck as of April 8th. On March 2nd, you said, and this is a quote, this was a massive, overwhelming attack across all domains of warfare, striking more than 1,000 targets in the first 24 hours. On March 10th, you said, yet again, our most intense day of strikes inside of Iran. On April 6th, you said, and this is another quote, the largest volume of strikes since day one of this operation. Your department has released video after video of things blowing up. None of us doubt the strength of the U.S. military and their ability to do hard things. I understand that better than anybody. The questions we should be asking and answering are, what does this cost us and what does it achieve for the American people? Many of these strikes use our best weapons, and we're using a lot of them. And a lot of interceptors. Open source reporting has estimated that the military has used an outrageous number of Patriots. I'm not even going to say the numbers, but a lot of Patriots, a lot of THAAD rounds, JASSM-ER, Tomahawks, very expensive, exquisite. We can't make these munitions overnight, and it's clear from your budget request that you know that. Can you tell us how many years specifically is it going to take to replace these systems?
Senator, thank you for the question. I would defer to the comptroller on the amount because I think it's a lot higher than 53. If you look at long-range fires, JASSMs, LRASMs, Tomahawks, we're looking at $238 billion.
Okay,
we're looking at $40 billion for hypersonic. So I actually think it's closer to $330 billion in munitions.
Okay, how many years to replenish? That's the question.
I think that's exactly the right question, too, Senator, because the time frame we were existing under was unacceptable.
Okay, well,
and
tell
what this
me,
budget does, months and years, fast.
Years.
We're building new plants in real time.
So just to replace what we have expended.
I said months.
And then you said years.
Both, it depends on the weapon system, but 2 to 3, 4x of what we have today. So
Okay.
yes, we're dealing with a reality under the previous administration of what they sent to Ukraine and what they allocated elsewhere.
Okay, I got it. So
And
we
we're
fired
rapidly doing it
years
quickly.
worth of munitions. And it is clear that these are being expended to try to achieve some objectives. That was the plan. But, Mr. Secretary, this war is stuck. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. The Iranian regime is in place. The nuclear material still in their hands. Americans are being crushed by higher costs. And it's not clear to them at all what the goal of this war is. So, I've got about a minute, and I want to go to another topic. I saw your hearing yesterday, and I'm going to give you one more chance to address a question here. It's my understanding that the definition of no quarter is that legitimate offers of surrender will be refused, or that detainees will be executed. Is that your understanding of the definition?
The only entity that would kill detainees or target civilians is the Iranians, and they're the ones being crushed.
So
It's the Iranian military and their military capabilities.
The question is, do
I
you
disagree
understand
completely with your articulation.
No, do you understand the definition that I just read you? Because that's the definition from your department's Law of War manual. Is that your understanding? And I'm gonna just get to the point here.
We fight to win and we follow the law, Senator.
Okay, so your quote was, "We will keep pushing, keep advancing, no quarter, no mercy for our enemies." And yesterday, you did not clarify whether you stand by this statement. So I'm going to give you another opportunity to clarify if that is what you meant. Do you stand by that statement you made on March 13th?
We have untied the hands of our warfighters. We fight to win, and we follow the law.
Okay, so you're not clarifying. So you stand by that statement. So you're the Secretary of Defense. The things you say matter. And your response here, right now, makes it clear to the American people exactly why you are not right for this job.
It makes it clear to our enemies, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Sheehy has left the room, but it's been whispered to me that I just referred to him in the last exchanges.
We are staring down the barrel of an unprecedented constitutional catastrophe. And what Senator Elissa Slotkin just exposed in the middle of a deeply tense Senate hearing might be the most terrifying red flag for the 2026 elections we have seen yet. In a functioning democracy, there are sacred, unbreakable guardrails that absolutely transcend partisan politics. And to the very top of that list is the ironclad rule that the uniformed United States military is never, under any circumstances, deployed to conduct domestic law enforcement at polling places. A line Slotkin masterfully reminded the room we didn't dare cross during the existential threat of World War II, nor in the shattered, paranoid aftermath of 9/11, because doing so directly violates the Posse Comitatus Act of 1818 and fundamentally destroys our constitutional design. But this threat is no longer just theoretical. Back in 2020, Donald Trump literally drafted an executive order commanding the Department of Defense to seize state ballots and voting machines, a catastrophic directive that his then Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, outright refused to execute, later publicly thanking God they didn't go through with it. Now, that exact nightmare is back with a vengeance, because Trump has openly confessed to journalists that his biggest regret is not signing that exact order, directly telegraphing to his current Pentagon chief, Pete Hegseth, that he fully expects the U.S. military to be locked, loaded, and ready to act against American voters if commanded. When Slotkin looked Hegseth dead in the eye, pleading with him as someone who has spent her entire career defending this republic to guarantee he would stand as a firewall for the Constitution, instead of treating it like a mere suggestion. Hegseth's response was chillingly evasive, dodging the reality of Trump's stated intentions by tossing out a hollow, dismissive claim that he wouldn't do anything illegal, rather than offering the unequivocal rejection this potential coup demanded. If a defense secretary won't definitively say no to deploying active duty troops against our own citizens, the invisible line between American democracy and an all-out autocracy evaporates entirely, which is exactly why you need to stay locked in until the very final frame to witness the sheer, suffocating tension of this historic confrontation for yourself. Drop your raw, unfiltered thoughts in the comments below and smash that subscribe button to help Inside Politics cross the massive 100,000 subscriber milestone as we continue to bring you the unvarnished truth.